Okay. I was trying to live stream on YouTube. That is what took a little bit of my time. So I'm going to start sharing my screen and introduce our host and our guest speaker for today, and then I'll hand over to the host to take over from there. At this point, I'm going to start sharing my screen. So welcome to um, welcome to our webinar. I would like to join us via Zoom. They are free to join us via YouTube Live and YouTube Live about positioning yourself for global opportunities. And we're expecting two minutes. Okay, so I just want us to do content for today's webinar. Afterwards, I'll hand over to the host to take over from there, while I'll keep sharing my screen. So we're going to start talking about what the BOB, basically a brief introduction, 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes introduction about what the BOB Africa is, what we do at the BOB, and of course, for those of you that may have applied for the fellowship program or the career advanced program, this is also an eye opener for you. And then the host, Colin himself, will talk about the team for the webinar. What I believe every one of you came with expectations. You have expectations as regards the team for today's webinar. So you know what you want to learn, you know why you are here, you know what you're chasing after. And so have all these expectations. At the end of the presentation, feel free to ask questions because we're going to have a little interaction after the webinar. We're expecting a guest from Career Body HQ, Informal Martins. So, but the host will give you a proper introduction to about who our speaker is. After that, the speaker comes on board and give us 30 minutes presentation on pushing yourself, how you can push yourself for global opportunities. Afterwards, we take a Q&A section, an interactive section. Then while that is going on, you'll be receiving polls. Polls will be displayed on your screen to help us to give us as part of our data collection to make better decisions in the near future. After that, we round up and we'll display our contact details on the screen for those of you who want to enroll for a fellowship program, career advance program, or any other of our programs you're interested in. Feel free to reach out to us via the numbers will be displayed on our screen at the end of the webinar. Also, we have a 20,000 naira voucher for those who will be staying up to the end of the program. We have a 20,000 naira voucher for you, which you can use to apply for any of our training programs. But that will be displayed at the end of this webinar. So if you want to get a 20,000 naira voucher to apply for our courses, please feel free. Stay to the end of the webinar to enjoy that benefit. Colin is going to take up sharing the screen now. Colin Wabweze is let me just run through to where we are. So Colin Wabweze is the programs manager at the BOB Africa. He's the one you can see on my screen wearing is the one on my screen putting on the blue t-shirt with the white the male on my screen. So he's the programs manager at the BOB. He manages everything, training, partnerships, and training basically as regards fellowship, career advance, next gen, and startup academy. So Colin is our host, our main host for the webinar. So Colin, I'm going to hand over to you. If you want me to keep sharing my screen, please let me know. If not, you can use my screen while you go over your presentation.
Yes, please. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much, Daniel, for that. So please go ahead with your screen so that it's just for easily and smooth. Thank you, each and every one of you all, for joining us at this wonderful webinar. I'm really, really excited to discuss about opportunities like this because, you know, I'm always a proud African. I'm Pan-African. So, you know, every opportunity I get to showcase what we have to the world is something I'm very much giddy about. So, I mean, without taking so much of our time, so Gani, if we can just move quickly on your slide so that I can just give them a brief introduction about what we do. So yes, who we are at the Bulb Africa. So just like you can see on the screen, the Bulb is a tech talent incubator. So of course, we hope to, you know, solve the problem of underemployment, employment and opportunities, and giving local African talents, you know, the opportunity to global opportunities, because we understand that because of the respect of the quality of education and access to technology in this part. I mean, as at 2020, the Deloitte Global did say that the United States did have over 6 million developers. Even in the Europe, we have over 6 to 7 million developers in that particular in those particular continents. But looking at Africa as a continent, I think as of 2021, we are still struggling to about 700,000 developers as a continent as a whole. So, which shows that there's so much that we can do. There's so much exciting opportunities here in Africa. So, of course, how do we intend to do this? We have 3 different vehicles. We have the Training Institute. Under our institute, we have a fellowship program. The fellowship program is a 3 to 6 months program that enables young talent to get access into tech. So we have core coding programs, core engineering programs, and non-core engineering programs, both mobile development, web development, DevOps engineering, cloud engineering, product design management, and the likes. We also believe that it's also exciting to catch them early, right? So we also have a program focused at teens or children between the ages of 7 to 18, right? It's called the Next Gen program. And it promises to be an exciting one. We even have an International Children's Day event that will be coming up on May 27. I'm sure that once you visit our page, you get most of this information I'm telling you about. So yes, that's what Next Gen, you know, focuses to target. So as much as we have a fellowship program that incubates youths to learn a tech skill, we also have a program that helps, you know, them to learn these skills early. More so, we also have what we call the Career Advancement Program. Now, this is for peeps that have 9-to-5 jobs already, but they want to learn a new skill, increase earning opportunities, and the likes, right? So, you know, these weekend and evening programs, you know, that is targeted at, you know, people that have careers, as the case may be. So that's basically what we do with the Institute. So the Institute have different training arms and programs, both virtual and in-person training programs, right? Then we also have the Startup Engine, right? So this Startup Engine helps to get ideas and turn these ideas into realities. That's the simplest way I can put that. Then we also manage multiple communities, from female-focused communities to, you know, to software development communities and the likes, right? So so that's just a little bit of background of overview of what we do at the Bulb Africa. So Daniel, if you could just quickly move across your slides. Thank you. All right, so yes, the topic we have in front of us, position yourself for global opportunities. I think anytime I hear things like this, it's like I said, it's always very exciting for me, because just here at the Bulb, we've seen so many stories of change. We started this business in 2020, and since 2020, we've had 4 cohorts so far. And in these 4 cohorts, we've seen, I've seen global talents placed in different continents. I mean, currently I have senior DevOps engineers in Poland. I have .NET developers in Germany. I have front-end developers in the United Kingdom. And it's very exciting that these are people that had little or no knowledge in tech. And after a 6 to 7 months program or 6 to 1 year incubation program at the Bulb Africa, they are doing fantastic. So, you know, here we are here to discuss how we can position ourselves for global opportunities. And, you know, I have someone that's very, very exciting to introduce on the call. Her name is Ifeoma Martins. So I don't know if you guys have heard of CareerBuddy. CareerBuddy is just doing something similar to what the Bulb is doing. They're helping people get fantastic opportunities. They want a fantastic communities. I'm a great fan of what they do at CareerBuddy. Without so much ado, Ifeoma has a very major background in consulting. I think she was management consultant for one of the consulting companies there in one of the West African countries here in Africa, right? And currently she is the chief operating officer for Career Body. So if Daniel, please go ahead. So just a little bit of background of who she is personally and professionally. Of course, she's vibrant, she's self-driven, business savvy. Don't let me use these words to water down our features, right? I will just allow you all to get to meet Ifeoma and, all the exciting and wonderful things that she has to bring for us today. Hello, Ifeoma.
Hi, Colin. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And yeah,
Good
so anyway, thank you guys so much.
So good to have you here. So good to have you here. I'm really a great fan of what you guys are doing at Career Body. Well done. Well done.
Awesome.
So I'll just allow you to do a little bit of introduction so that, our exciting guests can get to meet you.
That's fine. Hi, everyone. My name is Ifeoma Martins. As Colin rightly said, I am currently the Chief Operating Officer. I hope you can hear me. I want to be sure that I'm... Okay, awesome. Currently the Chief Operating Officer at Career Body, where we are a talent matchmaker for technical and non-technical professionals looking for opportunities in the and tech space across the African continent. And prior to that, I was the managing consultant for a subsidiary of eRecruiter Africa. And yeah, so generally over about 9 years, I have been in the talent space. So I think I'm confident in calling myself a talent expert. So I guess that's why I'm here. So thank you so much. And I'm excited to share my knowledge and experience with you guys as well.
Awesome. I'm sure that, there are many youths are very much excited. There are so many questions. People are, there's a trend around tech, right? So many people, they want to know how to navigate these waters. And I'm very much excited that, in the coming presentations that you have for us, you'll be able to, help us as to how to gain our foot in the door and how to really navigate these waters. For some of us that are maybe entry-level talents, or some of us that are, already intermediate talents, are trying to scale up, to senior level, as the case may be. So I'll just yield the floor over to you, Ifeoma.
Okay, so just give me a second to start sharing my screen.
All right.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I think I'm getting a host disabled screen sharing notification. So
Oh, sorry about that.
I'm able to.
I'm sure Daniel will resolve that shortly.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think that you can share now.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay. So whilst we wait for Ifeoma's screen to come up, Daniel, if you'd be so kind to put in the link for people that would need information about our programs, the fellowship program, about what we do at the Bulb Africa, and all that. I'm sure that in the chat platform, you'll see a link in the chat platform very soon. Awesome. Okay. I see this. It's coming up now. Great.
Okay, start off.
Great, I can see.
All right. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Right. So we are talking about positioning for global opportunities today, and I have prepared this slide. I want you guys to have an open mind and take as much information away from here, because I'm pretty sure this would be very pivotal in moving up in your tech career. So here we have an overview of what we have on this slide. We have an introduction, we have the strategies that you should look at, we have the tactical steps, and how practical are these strategies anyway, and then our conclusion. All right, so this is our introduction, globalization in the talent market. Currently, globalization in the talent market talks about the interconnectivity of the world economy and how this has brought about opportunities and, of course, challenges for employers, good thing for employees, because now we have a larger talent market or a larger talent pool. However, the employers still feel not so much at an advantage, so to speak, because we currently have a good balance on supply and demand as well. So going back into what globalization is doing right now in the tech talent space specifically, it has transformed the talent market by increasing, the number of opportunities that are available for talent to work across borders, and also the increase in competition for jobs and talents. Bringing that back to probably what Colin had earlier said, looking at the number of developers we have in the US, in the UK, compared to the number we have here in Africa, I think we used to have a quote unquote comfortability on the with developers that work in developed markets, because over time employers have always relied on tech talent within that market. However, with the advent of the globalization of the talent market, or in the talent market, now employers have the comfort of hiring anyone from any part of the world. They could look at hiring someone from Asia, they could look at hiring from Africa. So the competition for the talent in the developed world is currently stiff, and no thanks to the current growth of the tech talent space in Africa and also in other upcoming or developing markets as well. Now, what is our reality? The reality at this point is globalization has helped the operation of business, right? It has given them the opportunity also to tap into a larger pool of talent. So they do not necessarily have to only look at the 7 million developers in their market. Now they can look at 7 points. I think 2001 was about 800,000 developers in Africa. So now that has opened it up to about 7.8 million developers. And also remembering that the African market has a lower labor cost. So if the business wanted to hire people who were at the same level or at par with the sort of talents that they had or in their market, and do it for cheap or do it less amount, they are always looking at coming to this side of the world where we have great guys, and then these talents don't cost as the guys in the developed markets as well. So overall, globalization has, of course, increased opportunities for talents to work globally and for employers to have access to a larger pool of talent. However, it has also created some challenges, for talents to stay competitive in a very rapidly changing job market. So as much as you are in a space where you feel like you can take advantage of an opportunity, then the need to always be ahead of the game is always there. If you wanted to feel, if you felt a bit too comfortable in where you were, that opportunity could actually just pass you by. So because of the advent of the, of what we have on now, our reality, the larger pool of, of talent across the world, you have to always remain at your A game. So let's move on to what are strategies for positioning. So moving on, first strategy is develop a global mindset. I'm touching on this very primarily because this is like the foundation for the rest of the strategies and every other thing we'll talk about. Bringing that back to the fact that you have to have a switch in how you do things to be able to go ahead with the rest of the strategies, because positioning yourself, it's not going to be an easy task. So you have to be open to unlearning a few things, relearning some things, and most especially freezing that learning for a period of time. So a global mindset basically involves being open to new ideas and new processes of working, right? Employers are increasingly looking for people who quote and unquote have a global mindset and have the understanding of how to work on a global context, right? So as a in the talent market, we have employers who would come in and have a preference for tech talent within a particular market. There is a notion behind, why they prefer people within a particular market. I think at the moment, Nigeria sort of has an upper hand just because of the cost of labor over South Africa. South Africa has a higher cost of labor, but equally as they have developers as good as our Nigerian guys, maybe if not even at the same level, but they're just more expensive. So we've had employers who always wanted to hire, I would rather hire developers that are in this market. I'll prefer to hire developers in this other market, just because of a perceived, notion of these people there's a generalized sort of mindset and how they're able to connect with working in companies that are not within, their continent or within their geographical location. So bringing it back to developing a global mindset, it's an ongoing process. It doesn't stop when you start. It's not something you do, I'm just doing this because I'm trying to land a role in any of the developed markets. Nope. This is what would also sustain you to move on as you go on your career ladder. Even like in this market, you have to continuously, be open to broaden your mind and have that, willingness to learn and to grow. How do you develop a global mindset? So, number one, first thing you have to do, educate yourself. You have to seek information, that challenges how you see things. You have to be open to, taking in information that's a bit out of the usual for you. It's not useful what you would typically want to absorb. Let's start with, say, subscribing to certain, newsletters, being a part of certain or getting knowledge in certain articles, just as much as you can, taking in as much information that just changes your worldview. Let me put it that way. Secondly, you need to stay informed. You need to be up to speed on global events and industry trends. You need to know what's happening in your niche. You need to know what's going on in your own part of, the function that you operate within the tech space. If there's a particular market or markets that you're interested in opportunities from, you need to know what's happening there. You need to subscribe to information or, blogs, articles, newsletters within that market, just so you are able to know, when this is happening or when this is this particular organization is looking for people like this, and also to be able to even pitch yourself. Should you want to, should you be open to internships? Then thirdly, be open-minded. You have to embrace a different way of thinking. You have to be open to, challenging your assumptions and learning from others, and understanding that the way you do things is not, or the way you have always done what you know, or the way you have learned how this a particular action should be carried out, not the only way it can be done. So you have to be open-minded to accepting new ways of doing things, new processes, as much as even criticism as well. You shouldn't feel as though it's like a slight on you. So this way, or in doing this, you're helping. Sorry, did someone say something? Okay. This way you are building, or you're developing your mindset to be able to accept different, cultures, and working across different markets and working with different people. Let me move on to the next strategy. Strategy number 2, build a global network. Now, most often than not, we tend to talk about networking in the sense that, they say your network is your net worth. And it is quite true. But however, there's a lot more emphasis that's usually been laid on network being the people, your network being the people that you know, people that you have access to, people that you can, send an email to, people you can call. And very few people tend to even acknowledge something I recently started calling long distance, network. So there are people whom you know of that within a particular space that you're interested in, and you see what they're doing in those spaces. You try to connect with them, not because you know them, but you just want to always stay informed on what they do and how they are doing it and how they're going about achieving those things. Those are like your long distance network. And both approach is very key for you in building a global network, because as a entry level tech talent, entry level developer, QA, tester, you can't just up and expect maybe a VP at a software company, say in Brazil or somewhere in Europe, to up and take a call that, take your call. But you build those networks from just, from where you are, from far away, right? So building a global network takes time and it takes a lot of effort, but the benefits are quite significant because it can help you with, expanding your reach and creating opportunities for you personally and even in your career. So having sort of like a long, let me call it long distance network, there you can see what's going on in that person's own network as well. You are able to see if they also have, opportunities that you might be interested in, that you could even plug yourself into. So those are like why you need to have a global network and not just focus on network within your sphere, within your market. If you are looking at positioning to be out there, positioning for opportunities that are outside of your borders, you need to know what is happening in those places. And how do you know what's happening in those places? And information around there, it's more from your long distance network. Now, how do you build a global network? Number one, you have to begin with what you have, your immediate resources, right? The resources are available to you, which is speaking to the people that you know, have any connections within those space or have any information around those markets or the specific, say, continent or businesses or companies that you're interested in a particular market, to refer people they could that would have a good match into what you're looking for. And then with that recommendation, you can start your long distance networking, connect with them, and try to stay informed on everything that is around that market. That way you can start connecting with one person and end up connecting with a lot more people from that connections. Number two, you have to utilize social media like extremely well. LinkedIn is a professional network that you just cannot stop using. So you can have a lot of recommendation. You can have a lot of, just up and about, search for people around certain professions that you're interested in globally and just connect with them. And moreover, while you're doing that, make sure that just you do not I don't want to use the word nuisance, but just so you do not get to be sending a lot of emails to a lot of people or a lot of LinkedIn connections to a lot of people without going a proper way. Always put in a short note while you're sending a connection, just to let them know you would like to connect with them, because you want to stay, you want to see what they are doing, and you want to connect with them on a professional level. And that way you are able to build your global network. Moving on to webinars. So third step you need to take is attending webinars and online events within your industry that have a global focus. So with that, it helps you with making sure that you keep on what is happening within your industry. And it also helps with meeting like-minded people in that industry or with that market as well. You might find someone who also shares the same thought with you, and you could connect. You just don't know where those connections could go in the near future. Also, you need to do global forums. We have a lot of forums on Slack. We have a lot of communities across different places. There are communities even on Propel and a lot of others, because joining these communities will be useful to you, as some of them share, job opportunities. Some of them have free events. They have webinars. All of these activities just help you with expanding your network. And next strategy number 3 is learn new skills. So to succeed in a global job market, you need to consistently be a learner. It's very important that you continually learn new skills and stay up to date with industry trends. Why do you need to do this? So there was a point in time when the prevailing would I say framework was, let me say, stack for mobile development a couple of years ago, maybe about 6-7 years ago, was Xamarin, right? And there were very, very few developers that had the knowledge of Xamarin. And at that point, we're trying to hire for an Asian company, and we literally had only few Nigerians who had the Xamarin knowledge. And luckily, at that, I think the Xamarin market was also coming up in another West African country, and so we had to hire for that. We had to hire from the other West African country, and just a few Nigerians. And over time, Xamarin is not one of the key programming languages you need to build a mobile app anymore. Now we have proficient people using what's it called, Kotlin, and a lot of other technology stack. And also going back to when Ruby on Rails used to be the main stack at that point, and then after a while, that went faded, and developers moved on to a different type of stack, which was a bit more prevailing. So you, at every point in time, you have to be willing to learn what is attainable in your market. You have to be open to taking in more information, doing better than you were, and understanding what is needed, what sort of skill you need per time. Who might be Vue.js? Who says in the next 3 years it would still be Vue.js? So you have to have an open mind to learning. You have to be able to learn. You have to be able to eat, drink, sleep learning, right? It should be something that happens once in 5 years for you. If you want to be at the point where you can compete with, global talent, you have to be someone whom, if put at par with them, if you should be better, if not at the same level, but better than they are, right? So learning new skills will keep you or make you a more competitive candidate for global opportunities. What do you need to differentiate yourself if you want to be at certain roles globally, right? For certain companies right now, for entry-level technical roles, you get to do a live test, right? A live coding test. And if you haven't over time continue to learn new skills, how do you get better at what you're doing, right? And in the case of mid-level engineers, they get to do take-home assignment, and this take-home coding tests are not even a walk in the park. So sometimes, not a lot of them go through it successfully, but hey, who says you can't, right? So always, be open to learning and prepare yourself for that new skill that might just open up in the market that you're considering. How do you learn new skills? First off, identify the skill you need to learn. As I mentioned, you need to know what you need to know, or you need to know the skill you need to learn per time. So what do I need to get better at this point in time? Am I a great front-end person? Am I a great back-end person? Am I what sort of framework do I need to get better at? What database is a lot more people in this market using? Do I need to, do I need to switch my knowledge from knowing how to do this other one because, the markets I'm used to, this is the database that they are more comfortable with, or this is the technology that they're more comfortable with. But this other I'm positioning for what is the prevailing technology and processes around, around that. So identify the skill you need to learn. Step 2, take courses. There are a ton of free resources online that you can leverage on. There are also certain paid resources that are not very heavy on the pocket to imbibe a learning culture in yourself, right? Then practice your skills. Practice is perfect, right? So the more you do, the better you are. And this is more geared towards the entry-level tech talent, because you've learned these things, you haven't gotten the opportunity to put it into play. Volunteer your time to be part of certain projects, just so you can use that as an opportunity to try out some of these things that you've learned already, and then also you can be part of open source projects, right? So, and that's a credibility, and that's a street cred for you that you have code imbibed in or embedded in an open source project. It's something you can always have on your GitHub or your Stack Overflow and the likes. Then now, coming to the soft skills part, you need to hone these skills. You need to refine these skills. And this is more in alignment for, I'll say mid-level guys, and maybe also, also entry-level tech talent, because some of this are going to be very useful for entry-level. Let me start with embracing change. You have to be open to not being stuck up in the way you run or build your processes around your responsibilities or duties or what you want to do. You have to be open to accepting how other things or other processes can also lay into how you do what you do. You have to be willing to pivot. You have to have a mindset that at some point you could have to switch, between projects, right? So that is very key if you were going to, work at a global level, because some of these organizations are having to run multiple projects at the same time. They're building multiple products, and even as a product manager, you are having to manage, a particular product. You're pushing another product. You're doing user research for another product. You have to be able to, not if you're just stuck on one process or just how one product, but be very, very be open to moving around responsibility or shifting responsibilities. Now, communicate effectively. This is something that is very dear to my heart, because I get a lot of feedback from hiring companies, hiring managers, and employers saying that talents in Africa do not communicate well. Now, don't get this wrong. The communication they are referring to is not being able to speak English. No, it's not speaking English that is the communication. Of course, if you understand what communication is, you know that is the ability to pass across a message or an information. If the person you are speaking to did not take anything away from that conversation, you have not communicated at all. No matter how many lines of English, lines of grammar, vocabulary you use, the act of having someone understand the clear message you are passing across means you have communicated effectively. So in this case, you have to be open to listening more, right? And listening not just for listening's sake, but listening to understand. Active listeners tend to do a lot well, or a lot better in the global market, because they listen, internalize, and then they are able to work with that information they have received. Now, there are two things I want you to take note here. Do not over communicate, right? Which is just over speaking at every point in time, and do not under communicate. That's not even speaking enough, not asking questions where you need to, and not just sort of just being invincible communication wise, right? So globally, generally, actually, people do not enjoy micromanaging people, and most especially if you're looking at global opportunities. Most often than not, if you are not relocating and you are here and working in or get those opportunities as a remote team, it would be very difficult to have someone micromanaging you. So that is where your ability to communicate effectively comes into play. That is what would give you an advantage, because you are able to dissect information that is passed to you, and you are able to share information well. The person who is at the receiving end of the information also gets it, right? So that's that on communication. Next skill you have to hone is taking initiative. the best people to work with in the world are problem solvers, right? So we see entrepreneurs, and a lot of times you see on their pitch deck or whenever they're speaking, they tend to recognize themselves or attribute themselves to being problem solvers. You have to be a problem solver if you intend to, do well in the global market, or even get those, get opportunities in the global market. And if you're already, in a say mid-level role, and you are looking at moving on to doing bigger things, this is very key for you, right? So you have to be a problem solver. You have to be one who takes initiative, right? You have to be able to do things without, always waiting for that person to come and mention it to you to be done. There's a notion that developers can be difficult to work with, right? Don't be amongst, don't get yourself to be, a part of that notion. You have to not wait for things to be said to you before you even try to find a solution to a problem, before there's a problem, right? And when there is a problem, you are already looking for ways to solve that problem before it even, it's been escalated. Just so, if you are looking at bigger opportunities, this is one of the things as a mid-level engineer looking at maybe senior level roles. This is something that I've heard a lot of engineering managers talk about, that makes them love maybe certain senior engineers, or make them just enjoy working with certain senior engineers. And it just makes, life a lot more easier for you, because it will be easy for recommendations to come your way. It will be easy for people to refer you for other opportunities, because the world has become a global market right now. Excuse me. So flexibility and adaptability. This still goes back to being able to, embrace change, but you have to be flexible. You have to be able to adapt to new things, new processes, new technologies. And let me see. Yeah. So flexibility and adaptability. For senior engineers, most especially, the ability to move on, the ability to switch from, from a particular role to something else is something you should be open to. Why do I say this? There are certain organizations that you start as a software engineer, but after a while, there are opportunities that are within the organization for technical product managers, right? So you need to be open to, such responsibilities or such opportunities as well. Not saying, oh, because I'm a software engineer, I think I would rather just, not that you cannot be, stay true to what you want to do. However, within the tech talent space, there's a lot of rotation that is allowed to happen, right? So the number of people who started as software engineers and moved on to become technical product managers and move on to become senior engineers and, VP engineering or engineering managers and a VP engineering. There is a lot that comes with being an engineering manager, aside just managing developers. You're managing the entire spectrum of the engineering team, which cuts across, the developers, product guys, product designers, the QA testers, the UX researcher, even sometimes the content researcher as well. So if you are open to if you're flexible with the responsibilities you are open to taking, there is a higher chance of you scaling, very quickly. There's a higher chance of you moving up the ladder a lot faster. There's a fintech company that I think sometime last year, moved 90% of their software engineers to become product managers. And some people were not interested, didn't want to go that route. And then, they had to be, they were told to resign, right? And this is not, forgive my language, this is not shitting on anybody's parade, but if you understand, how the tech talent space operates, and you know that there is nothing, you can start somewhere and still come back to that same space after a number of years, right? So don't be stuck in wanting to just go a particular way. Be open to play around, certain responsibilities, be flexible enough, and have the adaptability, the mindset to be able to exist and succeed in these new responsibilities as well. So that brings me to a conclusion. As young African tech talents, positioning yourself for global opportunities takes a lot of effort and time, I must say. But it can be very rewarding, and it's a feeling path if you can build the skills and the mindset needed to thrive in this constantly evolving tech landscape. And that ends my slide for today. Thank you so much. So any questions? Do you have any questions?
Yes, if we have questions, if you don't want to speak, you could just put it in the chat platform and we'll be sure to just bring it to IFOMA's attention. Thank you so much for that, IFOMA. That was very, very detailed and spot on. I mean, you just spoke like an oracle in the tech industry. Well done. Well, I practically was taking notes again, just in case. All right. So we'll just allow the minute to pass while we allow people to ask whatever questions they might ask. I mean, I just want to just to remember some of the things that you said. First of all, around networking and all that. So for some of us now, for example, that maybe have missed it in the past, maybe in the early times, we'd never thought of networking and all that. So it's now you're saying that we should maybe start from our personal circle now that we have we don't have is little circle, especially in the social world. Let me use, for example, LinkedIn. Okay, I see that someone's hand is up. So what's the best advice? So what would you say would be the best approach for that kind of person?
So for someone who has not taken networking seriously over time and you're just starting now and probably do not even have a foundation to start with, LinkedIn is your next best friend, actually, right? So do your research. If you don't have anyone that can, nominate or not nominate, like recommend people you should, try to connect with, find people yourself, do your research, look at people within your function, your skill, and see what they are doing. So you can, a simple Google research could help with that. Then you take down those names and try to look for ways to connect with them on LinkedIn or Twitter, and just keep those connections going. Do not be a nuisance to that using that connection as well. So you have to not bastardize the fact that the person maybe accepted a connection if it's on LinkedIn, and also on Twitter, probably just don't tag them on anything that is not relevant to them.
Well said. Thank you. All right, Gift. I can see that your hands are up. Please go ahead with your question.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Gift.
My name is Gift. Thank you so much. I am a budding full stack blockchain developer, and I just started out with full stack development. And a lot of times I've heard a lot of people
What language
advise
do you write?
JavaScript.
Great.
Yeah. So, and I got an advice from a senior friend to take a course on project management first before heading out to, a specific niche in the tech space. So I don't know. I really got confused because I already started and, having to pause that and move over to something entirely new to me seemed challenging for me. So I would want to get some advice on that. I don't know.
Okay, so if I get you clearly, Gift, you are currently a blockchain developer, right? And a senior engineer or a senior friend. Okay, you are learning, and a senior friend told you to take a PM course before PM. That's project management, not product management, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So before going ahead with your before finishing through with your current line of Java, right? JavaScript.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I understand the thought process around that. I think I know why the person would is advising you to do that. However, it's not important in the scheme of things, right? What you get to learn as a product or as a project manager, rather, is just around communicating with stakeholders, right? So for projects that you're having to undertake, how do you manage your, the stakeholders involved, time management? If it's very current project management, then it would involve, agile leading and all of those things. So as much as it's a nice to have, it's not something that is super important that you have to stop your blockchain training to learn PM, because some of those skills in PM, you inherently pick them up the higher you go. So you don't necessarily need a PM training to be able to understand how to manage the different stakeholders that you'll be working with. Say, if you had finished learning and were now working as a blockchain developer, you will definitely be, have a cross-functional role that might involve you, always talking to your team members, your team leads, and all of those things. So it's nice to have, it's not a compulsory.
That's not fair now. I thought I would have had something to say, and she just finished it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Spot on. I don't know if that addresses your concern or if maybe you have a follow-up. I mean, I think just like Ifeoma said, that's just the most important. The last part of what she said was what I just wanted to quickly just, chip in. So do you think that addresses your concern, or would you, like her to provide maybe more context?
I think that does it for me. Thank you so much.
Yes, and just to add, I mean, just like she said, it's just as if the person is mixing it. So that's another thing I would want you to address, but that will be after Friday's question, Ifeoma. So just keep this in mind. How are people able to navigate themselves from these people that are wannabes, people that will finesse their CVs, people that will finesse themselves as maybe recruiters or as startups? As this tech industry, we don't even know who is real and who is not. And that's why you have 7 stages of interviews and the likes, and still interviewing, right? We have companies that would even employ you, and 3 to 6 months down the line, they still try and do another set of interview, right? And it's just because they don't even know if you are who you claim to be. So I would wonder why someone would want to give you that kind of advice when you've not even gained expertise in a language. So just like you already said, it is very, very great if that's an advice for a later thing, if you are moving to CTO level. And of course, you maybe want to learn agile methodologies, because of course you would build products, you would lead teams and all that. So I'll just yield the floor to Friday to ask his questions. Go ahead, Friday. Friday, if you can hear me, you can go ahead. Your hands are raised.
Okay, thank you. Everyone, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. I want to thank you guys for this wonderful opportunity. I wouldn't have much to say. I want to thank the for this, to his wonderful team. My question is, I'm a very, very beginner. I'm a full stack. In fact, I'm a full stack developer. I'm learning now PHP, and I'm also learning C#.
Sorry, I don't know
exactly,
but is it breaking? Ifeoma, can you hear him clearly?
Yeah. No,
okay,
I can't.
So Friday, something just happened. I don't know the spirit. It didn't just come in between your sentences and doesn't allow us to now grasp it. So we can hear you, but we cannot understand what you are saying because they are breakage at intervals. Maybe you can.
Okay. Let me try. If you guys can.
It's clearer now.
Hear me clearly. Okay. Should I continue?
Yes.
Okay. I said I'm a beginner. I'm a stack developer. Can you get it?
Yeah.
Now, I said it's quite challenging when using, just like what we just mentioned. Mentioned. It's very difficult when you're trying to learn, when you're trying to connect with people, those that help you. You find it very difficult to even start those real from those. I have a personal experience trying to learn from people I think quite ahead of me. And later you discover that, they just kept all this all, with English, they don't have this skill. And after paying some time, and you end up, see stuff at the beginner, they only just know the basics. You understand? So I don't know. I wanted to ask, when you were talking about getting connectivity, getting yourself in a community that probably build one. Or I was asking, how do you know, the authentic community that one can actually face ourselves, to get all these things? It's very, very important for me. I don't know if you guys got my question.
I did. So you want to be able to know authentic communities or be able to differentiate the wheat from the chaff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I think it might not be an easy task to do, right? You would probably have to be a part of it to know if it's a real thing or not, right? Because you can't predict human nature in that sense. However, I think it would be fair if before you got into a particular community, you try to get other people's feedback on that community. What have they taken? What have been their takeaways since being a member of that community? You can reach out to people who are part of that community, who are not even within your circle, right? So sometimes when people are looking for, in conversations for a particular role with a particular company, they try to connect with their current employees to get their own personal feedback on working there. And that helps them decide if they want to, go ahead with that opportunity or not. So now there's a lot of rave, there's a lot of noise around everything, tech talent, everything, startup, fundraising, yada, yada, yada. Everybody is a quote unquote thought leader, right? So you need to be able to decipher who is spewing nonsense in vocabulary and who actually has content. Some people are just using this for whatever they are doing it for, while some people are quite genuine. So it will take you some time to actually peel off the layers of trying to decipher who is who. But I think at the end of the day is worth it. So first up, for communities, try to get people or try to find people who are already in those communities and get them to share their honest feedback with you, and then you decide if these are communities you want to be a part of. Then secondly, for people who you want to maybe quote unquote connect with from far, your long distance connections or network, you need to look at what, the sort of information, the sort of thoughts they put out there. Does it align with what you want to get, what you want to get? Does it make you any better than you were before even seeing this person's information? If yes, fine. If not, you move on. There are a ton of people that would be useful at different points in your career. Friday, I hope, does that answer your question, or do you still need me to dive into anything else?
All right.
Of course, you've done justice.
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I have something in the chat box, Informa, excitingly.
Okay.
Mr. Peterson, he says, my question is based on learning new skills. I've been learning JavaScript for front-end dev, but I have this issue of language to learn, because I find myself leaving JavaScript to start Kotlin and leaving that for Python. I want to know what can help one decide, in particular, the field to focus. Just kind of confused. That was the last one.
Oh my God. Hi, Peterson. I'm sorry you are confused. Unfortunately, this is the time where we find ourselves, where so there's so much information that can actually confuse you, right? And because we are sort of pushing a particular narrative of, or maybe people generally are pushing a particular narrative, so it might come out as being confusing because you don't know, where do I stand? What do I do? But what comes to you a bit more easily, right? What do you see yourself, or what line have you looked at people who have, done this prior, or who have advanced in this? Where do you see them? Do they fall in line with where you all want to see yourself? If that is the case, then fine. And if not, then it's okay to continue to pivot. It's fine to continue to pivot till you find your balance, right? So if JavaScript is not doing it for you, if Kotlin is not doing it for you, find what works for you. Find that skill that comes to you a bit more easily, and that you can always, continually want to grow in that skill. Because it's one thing to have done to know something. It's another thing to take a conscious effort to continue to develop yourself in that area. And if you feel that if you finish learning Python today, you will never touch it, I don't see what it is going to do for you. It's just a knowledge that is there that is not going to be utilized. And as we know, practice makes perfect. So find that, continue to do what you can to find what works for you. It's okay to not know what you want to do now. Just keep trying out, and then you'll find that comes to you, and then you're able to grow in that and build a path on that. Mr. Peterson, does that answer your question? I hope that it missed out. Sorry.
All right. I hope Mr. Peterson maybe responds or speaks up. I mean, it's really good. It's really exciting what we do, both as a business, because it's good when you are making money and when you're doing good while making money. right? It's good that we're able to help people navigate these waters, right? So, I mean, the good thing is that there are already personality tests, right? Just to add to what Ifeoma has said, there are personality tests. In fact, we have some of these tests here at the Bob that helps you to better, itemize and say, okay, what is my best skill, right? Look at the things that you have your stronger strengths for. Are you someone that is good with aesthetics? Are you a design kind of person? Are you interested in the concept of things? You like to know how things work? Are you interested in database? All these things will already direct you to the end that you should be in. Okay, should I focus on back end? Should I focus on front end? All these will now be rubrics for you to now say, okay, this is the language. Because then they say, when you have passion for what you do, you will never work for a day in your life, right? So imagine when you are, learning a language and it actually aligns and it lights up your heart, right? So these are the things that, it's really good. So I see that Chinwe has her hands raised. Chinwe, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
In Chinwe.
Yeah, I want to say that it's been insightful, though I joined late, and everything that has been mentioned are legit. So, now to my question, I'm currently in data. I'm currently in data analytics, to be precise, and I've been on this path since 2021. I convocated from Unilag last year. So I started even before I left school, and I'm still on that path. And at this point, I'm at the point of actually mastering that skill and getting a job with it. That's the point I am currently. I've taken a couple of courses from Google, from Pluralsight, from different brands. I also have a Microsoft Excel certification. But at this point too, as I'm looking at mastering my data analytics skill, I'm also looking at it that I might later have to transcend into software development, because it seems like that's the big deal actually. So I'm not saying there are no big opportunities in data. I'm not saying that, but it's actually dawning on me that, babe, I might later have to branch into software development later on. So I don't know. I just want to get opinion on this thought. Am I thinking right, or am I thinking right? That's actually what I want to understand.
Hey, hi Chinwe. I have a quick question. Do you think software development is the in thing just because of the opportunities that are there, or you feel that way because you haven't been able to find something in data? Which is it? Just to be clear.
It's not because I've not been able to find something in data. And currently, although I know that currently the market for data is becoming saturated. I know despite that, if you know your onions, definitely you would still find good stuff, right? But my thinking of branching into software later is not because I can't find something in data after I really, really earned my skill, but it's majorly because of the current opportunities in software and the future opportunities in software, and what I will need to use the skill for. Yes, that's
okay. I would say it's not a bad idea to want to pivot much later in your career into software development. It's not a bad thing. However, I think it's probably too early to make that decision, since you don't have a compelling reason, so to speak, right now to move that. So give yourself a few, get something, you can start working somewhere in data, start using that and even test out to see the reality if that's actually the line you want to go. While doing that, you can start learning software development. It's not a wasted skill. It even puts you at a better, it puts you at a better advantage because you have to say, I want to think you currently probably have an understanding of Python and maybe SQL, right? So whatever the programming language or whatever the line of code you now decide to learn to do, just already makes you, it puts you at a better advantage over the average, data analyst, right? And should you even maybe get to the point where you enjoy doing data and move on to become, say, a data scientist or machine learning engineer, AI engineer, and all of those things, that skill, the coding skill will still come in useful for you. So I think just give yourself some time, get an internship, get a job, and put your data knowledge or your data learning into play first and see how it goes. You can always pivot at any time. As long as you're pivoting around within the technical line, I think it's very forgivable. Like nobody really questions that or has any, it would not be at a disadvantage to you, actually. On the contrary, I think it would even play out as an advantage for you. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you, ma.
All right. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I don't know if I could just add to Ifeoma. Don't mind me. I'm not as Ifeoma. Ifeoma is also a leader in tech, so I can see all the finesse in the response. In my mind, I'm saying as a data analyst, I would say that what you have done is that you have not gathered enough data. Because if you've gathered enough data, I am wondering in my mind, why would you even want to even pivot to software engineering or software development? There are some things I will not be able to say on this call, but I'll just give you a little bit tip of the iceberg. We have seen things like ChatGPT, right? Are you aware that things like ChatGPT can refactor code? There is a major alarm that the jobs of software developers might be threatened by AI, right? So guess what? The more the world is moving to data, because data informs everything. Anything you hear around artificial intelligence is the future. Anything you hear around machine learning, data science, that's the future. That's informing fraud analysis, informing financial forecast and the likes. So, I mean, we have not even seen the limits as to what AI would build. So if I were you, I would stay in data because data is the future, really. So, I mean, just get as much as you can. But then again, I understand that, of course, everybody has opinion, stronger strengths. Maybe you are someone that likes to bring concepts to life and not just about, data is like dirty work. You're just working in the back end, trying to bring numbers and make the numbers make sense, right? And all that. So just to quickly add to what Ifeoma said, around your industry, make sure you get as much information as you can, right? Around your industry, right? Okay, so I don't know if we have more questions for Ifeoma before we go. I mean, I've had so many interesting things. She talked about globalization. I mean, thank God to COVID-19, we've been exposed to global opportunities. And I think the word there is cultural intelligence. With cultural intelligence, the ability to be able to relate with, multifaceted colleagues from diverse backgrounds. I mean, we've seen people now that are able to work with colleagues from Asia and the likes, right? Mm-hmm. So, Mustafa, I see that your hands are raised. Please go ahead with your question.
All right, thank you, sir. I wanted to ask, there are some questions that are related to the data and software engineer. But unfortunately, actually, I also be in the back-end engineer, so I've been working on the different kind of. But actually, I believe that the software engineering, they are also required to partnership with the data analysis or anything data in order to working on the fig tech. Please, can you try to enlighten me more about this?
Sorry, Mustafa, can you go over that again? I'm not sure I get it. Could you go over that question again?
All right, thank you. So my question goes to I think maybe the software engineer and the data analysis. I think they are also working on the same firm. like a think tank in order to in order to work on the kind of the data when. So can you try to because actually I also been as a backend, but it is not really like that. So I've worked on some small projects like that. Can you try? Is it possible for me to be switched from the backend to the data?
Yes, it is possible for you to switch from backend to data. However, why do you want to make that switch? What is your reason for wanting to do the switch? Are you feeling unfulfilled as a backend engineer, and you feel that data, you have an inclination towards data, or you already can see what that data is like and data is now and the future, and you want to prepare yourself for opportunities that may come up there? What's the reason for wanting to do the move?
Oh, okay. The main reason is like the person that will just end the conversation now. I think maybe he said something about the ChatGPT, which is going to be taking over. There are some people projects and some people works.
Yeah.
So I also try to be afraid of laying off and kind of this so because there's a layoff in every tech company like this or any firms. So I was trying to, is there any other, and working as a software engineer, so we can also try to build the productions in order to consume, or instead of finding the project. Is that also possible for data, something like that, to also build their own products?
I'm not sure I got the final part. If I get that correctly, you asked if it's possible for data engineers as well to build their own product. Is that what you asked?
Yes.
I think a lot of products are primarily driven by data, right? And data is now, data is the future. The artificial intelligence we're currently talking about is on the back of data, right? And AI is going to be here for a very long time. So data is always going to be needed within this sphere that we currently operate in. We cannot overemphasize the importance of, getting or jumping on that bandwagon. However, if your fear of being laid off is the reason why you want to do data, I think you should not, take actions based on from a place of fear, right? So you should have other reasons why you feel you want to do or move into data. If you wanted to pivot to data, maybe as an engineer, I think it would be easier for you to get a better understanding of why you have to do this, because you don't want to be half and half. You don't want to be in here and not in here. So don't allow your fear of losing your job. If you want to get into data and face it squarely. And if not, continue to build, continue to be better at what you do, continue to make yourself indispensable, so to speak. Yeah. And see what the future holds. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds, so we can't control certain actions. So just control what is within your sphere of influence. Mustafa doesn't answer. Okay, he says thanks. All right, I guess that does.
All right. Thank you so much. I mean, every time you speak, I almost, if you notice, there was a particular time that my camera went off. I just went to get a jotter. Look at just to tell you that I was serious. I mean, the first time you spoke about communities, just so you know, Career Body, they have their community. You can join them. Also, you can join the Bob community as well. Or you should join the Bob community.
Yeah.
All right. And she talked about all these things. So, also another little tip about people that are trying to start new, even when you're trying to take courses let me use LinkedIn Learning, for example, you see that there are little people of chat groups of similar people that have taken that course. That's a good place to start. And the good thing is you'd see people that are even outside the continent, right? So that's just a little tip. So if there are no questions for Ifeoma, just ask Ifeoma if she has a closing note so we can let Ifeoma. It's been very, very, very exciting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone at the Bob. I love what you guys are doing, and I love that you are in your own way trying to increase the number of tech talents we have in the continent. We don't have a great number. We are currently, I think we are currently tying with Egypt on the number of developers we have on the continent, and South Africa takes #1. But I'm happy that you guys are doing what you have to do to make sure that, our guys are learning to get into opportunities that are out there and taking these opportunities and, having our name on the map and increasing the number of tech talent. And at the end of the day, more money. So yeah, thank you, Bob, for what you guys are doing. And thank you for having me. I'm excited to have contributed my quota to what the Bob is doing. So yeah, thank you guys so much. And yeah, I'm happy.
All right. All right. So before you go, Ifeoma, I just want to quickly share my screen to give each and every one of us a little bit of background around one of the programs of the Bob Institute. So, like I said at the introduction, someone trying to say something? Okay, I'll just continue. So yes, at the introduction, I spoke about the fact that we have at the Institute at the Bob, we have a fellowship program. The fellowship program is a 4 to 6 months program that allows youths, graduates especially, to get access to tech talent, right? And we have programs ranging from .NET to JavaScript to Java, DevOps, product management, product design, data analytics, software quality assurance, which is popularly known as software testing, and the likes, right? So as much as we have a fellowship program, we also have, a career advanced program. Now, this program is basically for people that have, a 9-to-5 career, right? It's basically an online weekend and evening program. So I just want to give us a little bit of overview and around what the program is, right? So what we hope to address, of course, the problem of unemployment and underemployment, of course, and what are the opportunities that you stand to gain when doing career advance? So of course, increased earning potential. So if, for example, just like the question that Chinwe asked, if I am a developer and I have had like 2 to 3 years experience specialized in, let's say, JavaScript, for example, now, as a mid-level JavaScript developer, if I want to do maybe an international interview, what will give me maybe say an advantage over every other developer is the fact that, let's say I have a little bit of, let's say I have a certification in Scrum. Now, Scrum is a form of agile project management, right? So that will give me maybe increased earning potential, improved job satisfaction. Now, thanks to COVID-19 and of course, the globalization of talent, like Ifeoma perfectly said, we have, people, talents in Nigeria getting jobs in Australia. I mean, the list goes on and on. Of course, new career opportunities and of course, networking opportunities. I mean, if I look at my LinkedIn page now, I have a lot of learning and development professionals because maybe I'm a member of the Society of Human Resource Management, right? So because of that, because I was able to take that certificate, because I was able to take that learning initiative, I have access to professionals, learning and development managers that I've never met. And, that's the idea of, getting more knowledge, right? This Alvin Toffler made it saying that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn on learn and relearn, right? So of course, our solution is the career advance, and our placement idea comes from our community. Just like Ifeoma rightly said, we have connections with both a global community, and the most interesting idea around the community is that the community gives you support, because the good thing is around developers is that you're not an island. Sometimes when you have issues, the community helps. You can put the issue in the community and people would assist you when there are job opportunities and the likes. So, so these are a little bit of the courses that we do. I'm sure that you can see the link in the chat blocks. We have data science, but this data science course, because data science is very, very broad. I mean, a course in data science, you must have a preliminary knowledge in data analytics before you now want to endeavor into data science. I have some of my friends and colleagues that will say, you know what, I don't want to even venture into science. Let me just stick with data engineering. So data science for financial institutions and fintechs. So how are financial institutions and fintechs in the country or in the continent able to leverage on data science and solve their day-to-day problems, or scale, increase productivity, and maximize profits? The next course you can see on my screen is popularly known as ITIL. It's called Information Technology Infrastructure Library. We also have a very fantastic course that guarantees you sure placements, and it's a global partnership with a consulting firm called BQ. It's called SAP, Financial Accounting and Controlling. More so, we have project management. The next course I have on my screen is called Tech Brand Marketing. This is majorly for startups and for marketing executives and associates in tech firms. Then the last one here on my screen is a very, very exciting course that we have. We just practically do it once a year. It's regularly targeted at executives. Mostly we have international facilitators, because we really seldom have, you know, experts that are guru enough to be able to transfer knowledge, and it's basically targeted as executives. So this is how, you know, they're able to leverage on blockchain, because that's where everybody is moving into right now. So these are a list of the courses, and the great thing is that, you know, we can register on these courses and we can even do it from the comfort of our home. We also have cybersecurity courses ranging from intermediate to advanced, right? So even if you have IT professionals, right, we have advanced courses for IT professionals. We have intermediate courses for middle-level executives, and of course, we have just, you know, basic knowledge on cybersecurity for your day-to-day staff. That's exactly what, you know, we try our best to equip, you know, ourselves, our African talents, with this as much as we can. Of course, we also do Scrum. Scrum is a form of agile project management. You have other forms of project management like Kanban, SAFe, and the likes rather. So then the last one I have on my screen is SQL. SQL is also a very, very, very important tool for people that are good in database engineering and also backend engineers, right? It's a major add-on for a backend engineer, for a senior backend engineer. For a senior backend engineer, if you look at up to 85% of the job roles, you will see that they'll be asking them if they have major knowledge in most of this, and also a data analyst and scientist, as the case may be. And all these are available courses that you can get at the Bulb Institute. At this point in time, I'll take questions. Okay. Friday.
Yes. A good day, everyone, and host, Mr. Collins. Can you hear me?
Yes, please, loud and clear.
Okay. Please, I actually dropped. It was not for Ifeoma. It was actually for you guys at the board. I think I once applied to one of your fellowship program, just like I mentioned when I was asking my question. I just started this career. Just started tech, not quite long. I had to resign my job because it was not sustainable, and I don't need to emphasize on that. You know what I mean? Do you understand? So I, as a stand, don't actually have enough. Somebody actually told me that there is actually a program you guys offer that you can learn and pay later. So I don't actually know how to it is. That was why I put that question. So I need some clarification. And I want to also know if you guys offer knowledge on software development, like C# and
Yes. Sorry for cutting you short. Please go ahead.
Okay. No, I was asking if you get what I did.
Yes. Okay. I'm so sorry about the fact that I skipped the fact that you said you had maybe applied to the Bob Institute for any of our programs in the past. But to quickly answer your question, yes. So as a new developer, there are so many ways that you can actually continue to upskill. Like I said, these are just career advancement programs for people that already have, let's say, a career, right? Just want to get an add-on. So let me give you an example now. A typical example, I work in a bank. And I understand now that, there's a new trend in tech and tech talents are paid very well. And I already have some years in finance and some background on what is going on in the finance industry, but I do not have basic knowledge of data analytics. So maybe I need a little bit of data science knowledge to be able to use Python, to be able to use SQL and all that. So I'll bring my knowledge of data analytics back to the bank, right? And I can apply for a new role or apply for, what's it called now? Promotion, right? As the case may be. Then to answer your question straight away, Friday, we also have courses like the fellowship program, like I mentioned before, that now has core engineering programs from .NET to JavaScript, to Java, to Python, to DevOps, and software quality assurance. So these are the major programs that we have. And one thing that, if Omar will agree with me, is that, major companies would not want to just take a, chance on you just because you are an entry level. So you majorly maybe just need a platform because they want to be sure that you have been able to collaborate in a team, that you understand etiquette. I mean, I cannot forget the fact that she mentioned soft skills. So I told you guys I was actually taking notes when Informa was actually speaking. Soft skills is another very major thing that you need, right? To be able to learn these opportunities. So our fellowship program gives you a mix of this. It's a 3 to 6 months program. Now the 3 to 4 month program is for the non-core engineering programs. For you that you're not so heavy on mathematics and analytics and problem solving, you just like maybe aesthetics, you want to learn product design, you want to learn product management. The exciting thing is that you can still join the apprenticeship program next week, right? For these light programs. Then for the core engineering programs, you would have to apply for a later time. I'm sure if you check the chat platform, you'll be able to see the links in the platform. And if the platforms are not there, Daniel, if you could be kind enough to make these links available so that people can get more information, because I don't want to take so much of our time because we've already taken so much time already. I don't know if this already addresses your question, Mr. Friday.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Thank you. Joshua, please go ahead with your question. So after Joshua, we'll just take one more question so that we can close for today. Thank you. Joshua, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. My question is this: you've talked about the fellowship program, and I want to ask: the fellowship program, is it virtual as well, or it's a physical on-site program?
Yes, fantastic question. So like I said, we started this program since 2020, and for the past 2 years, one of the major concern and the hiccup that we've had in getting the numbers is that we've had people say, "Oh, I cannot come to Lagos for your fellowship program," and we've had the voice of our customers. And since the beginning of this year, we have piloted our first virtual program. Currently, we are running a hybrid session where we have a mix of people that are learning virtually and people that are learning physically. So if you want the physical program, you can opt for the physical program. If you want the virtual program, you can opt for the virtual program. So to answer your question straight away, yes, we have a virtual option available as well as the physical option, Mr. Joshua.
Thank you.
All right. Ifeoma, I really, really want to thank you so much for your patience, your time, and all that power packed. I'm sure if we're to pay for this, we'll probably not be able to pay for the kind of value that we have gotten from you. Thank you so much. I don't know about them. They've been asking questions as to how to network and all that. I already have taken first step to network with you already on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So I'm already teaching them how to do it, right? Right. Thank you so much.
You are.
Over to you, Daniel. Over to you, Daniel. Thank you once again, Ifeoma.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. We have come to the end of the webinar on position yourself for global opportunities. What are the next steps that needs to be taken? Next week, hopefully by next week, Monday, Tuesday, we are going to be sending an email with the recording. So in case you want to listen to the interactions again, the webinar again, you get the recording from us via email by next week, Monday, Tuesday. For those persons interested in any of the tech-related programs, any of our programming programs, software engineering, product design, product management, and the likes, feel free to reach out to us via our emails or via our website. This is the website from the links that have been shared. You will see chat with the learning lead. You can just chat out via WhatsApp from there. If you have further questions to ask us, feel free to send an email to comms@thebulb.africa. I'm writing it down, comms@thebulb.africa. If you have any questions you would like to ask after now, feel free to send the questions to that email. We'll have someone dedicated to responding to inquiries asked from that email address. Thank you once again, our guest speaker, Ifeoma. This was really awesome. And our guest has been here for the past 1 hour, 30 minutes. We also appreciate you on your journey towards breaking into tech and building a successful career in tech. We wish you success and welcome you to join the Bulb Fellowship Program or Career Advance Program, so we can all accelerate your career in tech together. Once again, it has been a pleasure having you all here, and we will be looking forward to meeting you, seeing you at the top. Bye, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you so much. I don't know about them. They've been asking questions as to